All right, good member. Don't play the laughing boy. There are only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch.
What?
Well, here we are, Between Two Wheels podcast, episode 314. We go, what is it? Manzanares El Real to Guadarrama. 200 and some odd kilometers, 207.8 kilometers. Look, the things that made this Vuelta, the 78th Vuelta a España, so exciting, and the drama also tended to shut it down a little bit and make it not so exciting. Will Sepp Kuss hold on? Will Evenepoel win? I don't know. We'll talk about it coming up.
Even Chris Froome had no response to Alberto Contador today. For the last couple of years, he's looked a shadow of himself, but Contador has shone on this Vuelta, and finally he takes the stage victory.
It's about how much time Richard Carapaz can take. What is the gap going to be? He crosses it at 2:34. So Primož Roglic now has got 45 seconds to get there. Primož Roglic saves La Vuelta by around 19-20 seconds.
21%, it really is a hurt zone, this. Nibali hits it once again. Now can he? Don't forget, he's just got to find 3 seconds here. 4 if he can. Away and Nibali goes once more in the cloud. Oh, it's almost reminiscent of his job on the Giro d'Italia. Out almost the camera, and has Nibali been taken out here as well?
No,
I don't think there was any contact with anybody. It's just gone pop. Here is Horner. What a performance by this man. As we say, 20 years separating the man who's won the stage and the man who quite possibly has just won the Vuelta. 200 metres. This is going to feel like party time. And the grimace turns into a huge grin. And the clock, watch it when he crosses the line, because this is the crucial timings. He gets the bonus as well, don't forget. There is Chris Horner. Has he just done it for the old guard?
And Sepp Kuss is doing it for the new guard. Welcome, everybody. Tyler Yonke, Between Two Wheels podcast. Flying along on stage 20. And we've got Victor. Victor, my buddy Victor, thank you. You've been following along for almost all the races, I believe. Sepp Kuss became second American to win the Vuelta a España in a decade. That's correct. Chris Horner 10 years ago, and Sepp Kuss now. And I'm happy with it. Let's put it that way. I've had some time to think about it. Tried to get our buddies Kurt and Chris to come on tonight to maybe give some perspective. I think Kurt is, I don't know if he's just BSing with me, but maybe a different pushback, some pushback. Victor for sure says Kurt. Kurt, why don't you're here? Just join, and then you can give some pushback. Okay, so let's talk about what we had here. We talked about stage 19. We'll go over that. This is some of the slides I had from then, and there we go. There is the route today, 207.8 kilometers, 10 categorized climbs. I said it when I first saw it, hey, this looks like it's going to be a Liège-Bastogne-Liège type of race. That's what people said as well. I'm not the only one that thought that. And it had all the makings for that. And who has won Liège? Evenepoel. So, you know, it's a good chance that so is Wout Poels. A little bit interesting. I was trying to think of people. I think he's won it. Let's take a look here. Paris-Nice, Trento, La Vuelta, Tour de France, Liège, Bastogne-Liège in 2016. Wout Poels did that. And your reigning Liège champion right now is Remco Evenepoel. So, you know, look, the excitement that we've had with this race, the drama that it's given us is because of the Jumbo 3, the Triumphant, the Holy Trinity out there causing problems, but also causing a lot of excitement. I mean, the Angliru, you know, when I'm watching that stage and Sepp is going with him, you're excited, then you're getting upset, and then, you know, there's all the angst and everything. And Rog has won LBL as well. That's right. He won it. He won it in 2020, Chris. We talked about that, which I thought at the time was, I think he won it in 2020. which was, that's the year he loses the Tour to Pogacar. It's quite the mental letdown, and then he comes back. He might be unbreakable. I mean, that's the one that is possibly comes back, wins Liège, which was then after the Tour de France that year, and then comes in and wins the Vuelta with a lot of help. So a lot of people have won Liège, not a lot, but every year there's a winner. So we've got that going for us. So here's the race today, and look, so things shut down. Obviously, orders have come across. Brian Zimney, a friend, sent me a podcast. It's Alexi Vermeulen was on there. He used to ride with Jumbo, and I think he has the KOM with the local race ride up here, up to the Rhino. Anyway, that might be Nelson Palace now. Anyway, he was on a podcast, and he evidently is good friends with Roglic, and he was indicating that. What did Brian say? I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but something along the lines that Roglic it was bonuses that were kind of a big deal. So maybe Jumbo, they sat everyone down and said, look, we're going to spread some of these bonus things out. Maybe we're going to make something, but we got to, the PR nightmare is going to be a problem if we go on with this. So this has to be settled. And I get it. You all have bonuses. Now I had talked about, Johan Brunel had said that he didn't think there were bonuses involved. I don't know. They're not talking about it. But anyway, they've seemed to mend fences and they're putting things right. Remember 2 days ago, Jonas did a nice little ride there for Sepp, backed off. So you expected today coming in that it was not going to be much of a problem as long as Sepp had the legs. And let's go back to here. There's the route that we have today. Just crazy looking thing. They have all these climbs. The last climb that we have, let's see, is it this one? Maybe I don't even have it on here. It looked pretty brutal. So let's walk our way through the stage today. Long day too, 207 kilometers. There's a little peek into what's going to happen. Bikes on the rack. There's someone that went down. Jumbo jerseys, Caja Real. A lot of fans out there in the mix. Everyone with tired legs. But there you go. There's the route that they're going to today. It looks a little bit complicated. And the thing just lit up from the beginning. Everyone wants to get into the break, which, we talked about. And I think that was the best thing for the Sepp Kuss guys, which was Sepp especially, was get a break up there, make it so it's not even in the world of possibilities for Vingegaard or Roglic. You don't mess with it. And then you just got to hang on and do your thing. And if people come at you, what are you going to worry about? Enric Mas, who you've had no trouble dumping. Ayuso, Almeida, it's not going to really be much of an issue. So Marc Soler gets up there. Remember Marc Soler, stage 6 breakaway, doing his Solerism stuff. But Kelderman gets up there as well. Evenepoel gets up there. There's a break of about 30 or so. A lot of solid guys. Contineo for Quick Step gets up there as well. So I think he had another team. Vermaak was up there. So Evenepoel had a team. Geraint Thomas was in their break as well. And Hugh Carthy, I'm going to keep doing it until I remember everybody. And there's a Rui Costa. We've had a stage win as well. So it was a pretty solid move. And Evenepoel has the team in there now. He's got every jersey that his KOM jersey locked up. Leonard Kamna's up there as well. So I think Roman Bardet was also. So, it was a solid day for that breakaway. They were looking good. They started getting, 5-minute lead halfway through. Then they had about a 10-minute lead. And some guys were kind of messing around. And the whole time, Evenepoel just was like steady as it goes, used his team, clicked it over, didn't really worry about anything else. And his Catania was really just drilling things on. Then they come into this last climb. And this last climb, the main breakaway comes. You can see this here, 2.3 kilometer climb, 4.5 to the finish. And then it goes down and it's a little windy till they get down to the finish there. Sprint. Wout Poels takes a strong move, and remember he did an amazing climb up the Angliru. I think it was, I want to say 2016 or so. He officially has the win up the Angliru because the guy that won the top, was it Kobo? No, I don't know. It was Hernandez, Rodriguez maybe. DQ'd, drug issue. So, and he was second. He led up over that climb with Chris Froome at the time. Man, that was a guy that was kind of in this role of perhaps he's going to be a team leader someday because he was kind of this super domestique that would just drill it on the front. kind of the Sepp Kuss thing, but he hasn't really materialized. But he's had a good season. He was up there in the Tour de France. He got up in a breakaway with Wout van Aert, and they were both up in the break, and he dumped him on the last climb. Very impressive. Takes a win at the Tour de France this year. He's had a pretty stellar, I think, ride here at the Vuelta. He's really looked strong, done a really good job for Landa. Anyway, he jumps early, and Evenepoel just sits there. Now I'm thinking, okay, he's either just going to, maybe he doesn't have the legs, or perhaps he just is biding his time. But you can see here from this picture, he's on the wheel of his teammate. He's not quite there, but he plays this pretty smart, I think, because let's go. I also have here, hang on. Okay, I'm going to add this to the, there's the route we had today here, but here's kind of who you look up there. Evenepoel, Soler, Wout, Van Eltveld, Paolo, Sanchez, Thomas, Martinez, Leonard Kamna, Rui Costa, Ainer Rubio, and Roman Bardet. Those are all just, this is kind of as it goes over the top. I'm leading ahead here, but those are kind of the people that we had up in the break. So those are who you see here. Wout and Van Eltveld, what's his name? Let's go here. Van Eltveld, this Leonard, we'll call him Leonard. Leonard and Wout are up the road, and they have a decent little gap, but this thing gets steeper as it goes. So you can tell, though, that Remco just doesn't quite have the snap. These guys go up there, Marc Soler is catching up to him, and then you're looking back, and here comes Paolo and Remco, and as they're doing it, Wout kicks again, tries to dump everybody. He wants to get up and over this climb. He kind of just stretches everything out. But Remco, he's motoring his way in there, trying to get his way back into, and right over the top. He at least is within catching distance. You can see that here over the top of the climb, and he pushes it on the way down. He ends up catching him. He actually goes through this group, and then they all kind of consolidate at the bottom. Meanwhile, back here, the main field comes up this same climb, and there's a few little moves. Enric Mas, his movie star team, comes to the front like they're going to, rev him up. He pulls to the front, literally like 4 or 5 pedal strokes, and then just kind of like, yee, he peels off. Roglic comes up there, and Roglic from this last 6.6 kilometers really just controls it. Sepp looked good. I really wanted the question to be asked to Sepp Kuss at the finish. How did your legs feel today? I mean, were you, and maybe this will come out at some point, but he's looked fine. I mean, as this thing goes here, it peels everybody but the top, like 5 or 6 on GC, and just destroys everyone else. And he was up there with him. He said it was a little bit of a tough day, but I would just be curious as to how his legs were. It would be interesting to know the whole, if these guys played it out, what would actually happen on this day. Everyone seems to think, oh, it would be Jonas, it would be Roglic. I don't know. They took 19 seconds over him up the Angliru. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So that was near the top there. Anyway, here's Enric Mas coming to the fore, not really doing much. Meanwhile, back in the break here, these 5 guys going. Remco is the guy for the sprint. Once again, he's got a strong kick to him. He didn't look as peppy coming over that climb. Wout Poles can move pretty good. You don't know necessarily about the other guys. Coming from behind is the Rui Costa group. He's I don't know if he's probably actually helping Remco back there because he's just sitting on. He's notorious for that. But I was also like, are these guys gonna join in the work? Well, Wout does some work here, but the other guys, Marc Soler kind of joins in. But this Van Leonard and what's this other guy? Let's pull this back up here. Paleo, Sanchez, he was doing a little bit of stuff too. About 350 from the line here, they're going to come up to this corner, a nice little corner here, and Wout Poles kind of gets a slingshot up there with from the very back off of Marc Soler. He goes right past the guys. Remco goes to jump on his wheel, and you can see here going through the corner. They can't really pedal through the corner, but it's a ways out here. This is much too far that you would think that you would be winning over Remco in a sprint. 350 to go, but Remco can't bring it back. He's slowly closing on him. These other guys are having trouble hanging on his wheel, and then it has a slight pitch over and kind of drips down, and you can see this last bit here. I wish it was a little bit wider. We'd actually be able to see the amount of distance. I mean, they're at 75 to go, and it's almost like they're getting wound out, so it's really hard. And as they come over the line with a bike throw, Wout Poels gets it over Remco. And so there you go. Wout Poels gets a little handshake from Marc Soler. This man is not happy, but is mentally unbreakable, so it should be fine. So here is the overhead shot, which I think is really good. Some people are saying that right here when he went, that perhaps Remco's hand was on his computer and that he wasn't really, he was checking his map. Well, I mean, look, it's 350. If that's the case, bully for you, Wout. But I don't really think that's too much of it. Because look, I mean, it's okay. So he's got more distance coming through here, and this was my point. And some people didn't like me on Twitter about this, which is, I think you can see over the climb, if it's a Cat 3 climb, and it's got some little bit of a pitch to it. If Remco's legs were fresher, even like as good as Wout's, he would have gone with Wout. He would have been snappier there. He wouldn't have taken this longer time to get up there, and he would have been able to close this down. This is a long sprint. A sprinter, sprinters themselves don't need 350. 350 is, you saw that in the Tour, where Caleb Ewing is going, trying to sprint further from 300, 350, and he's getting mauled. So now look, the corner, around the corner here, you've got a crosswalk distance between these two, and that pretty much stays until the bike throw at the end there. So there you go. There you have it. Wout Poels with the win. But let's see, did they show this coming in here? Because the main group comes in. And once again, it's Roglic pretty much on the front, doing a lot of the work. Sepp Kuss, Jonas, and Roglic all sit up. They lose a bit of time here over the top, the last, 200 meters. But they do a lot of this. I mean, this is kind of mend fences where I actually, and today I could tell maybe it's a little bit different with Jonas, except for trying to ride no-handed. And Roglic here, that it seemed to be a lot more of the, I'm okay with this. They seemed at least a bit happier about it. And there you go. Over the line, the three of them, happy to go. They gave hugs. Sepp Kuss kissed the helmets of those guys. He got to go up there on the top step. Sepp Kuss is going to win this by 17 seconds in minute 8 over Roglic and Vinigo. And Ayuso takes back about 15 seconds there, 3:44, 4:03 to Landa, 4:14 to Moss. Vlasov moves up over Utrecht. Kian Utrecht, I don't know. 8:26 there for the young Belgium. 10:08 to Almeida. Buitrago, 12:04 in 10th place. Pretty good there. So tomorrow it's just going to be a nice little promenade coming into Madrid, and then a sprint stage. With Remco missing out on the points, we'll go over those a little bit, but I think Caden Groves has probably got that sewn up, unless you see a sprint that's going to be a little bit different. So those are the guys that were up in the front group. Pretty impressed with that. Sanchez, the BH rider, evidently he's going to Movistar. Van Lennart, he rode pretty good there. I mean, for all those guys going over the top of that climb, that was pretty solid for such a long day. It's a lot to say about them after the end of the race. Marc Soler getting up there, doing, I don't know what Marc Soler does, but Remco not able to get the win, and then Wout Poels coming in strong. Geraint Thomas got himself up in the break today. Rui Costa, I think, won the field sprint for these rest of these guys. Bardet also up there, and like I said, Geraint Thomas, good day. He just said, he said at one point, because James Knox for Quick Step was also in the break, and he told Knox, he's like, hey, you want to kind of tack out of this with me? And Knox, or Knoxy as he calls him, said, I don't have good legs. And then later on, he said Knox was on the front just drilling it for a long time. So he's like, so obviously he was lying to me he didn't have to go with me. It's like, yeah, he was probably playing team tactics, but there's the sprint for the line. I thought we'd talk real quick here about Wout Poels. So born in 87, so he's not a young chicken. He's 35. But look at that. Wins Liège, Volta Andalusia, Ruta del Sol, Tour de France, stage, Volta La Comunitat Valencia, Vuelta, he's won a stage here, obviously, 4 on the Tour of Britain, Catalunya, Tirreno Adriatico stage at the Dauphiné, stage at Paris-Nice, País Vasco, and Tour of Poland, in 17, but that Liège win in 2016, solid. Now, what's interesting here, they don't put on this stat that he has won the Vuelta a España 23. Maybe they have it here. No, because it would say 2x there. Interesting stuff. So there you go. There's that picture coming over. Here's some highlights. So you're going to put this top one, Vuelta a España, GC. It's going to be 1. I don't know where he's at in the points. I think he's like 5th or so in the mountains. He doesn't qualify for the youth, so I don't even know why they say progress. But he obviously won a stage there. But you can see this here. So he was 3 top 15s. This is what's impressive. 12th in the Tour de France this year, 14th in the Giro. So he just got better and better. And by the way, this 12th, remember he crashed on stage, I want to say, was it 20? 19 or 20, and put that big dent in his head and dropped a few places off there. So that wasn't so great. DNF'd on the Vuelta last year. But other than that, he was 17th in the Tour the year before that. He was 8th in the Vuelta the year before, the 2021, 32nd, 16th, 15th, 29th. So then, he just progressed on here with his first Vuelta, 65th place, but he was a brand new pro, and they said probably shouldn't have brought him there. Or actually, what I heard an interview with Neerman, and he's like, what we should have done, we didn't realize how strong he was, but he wasn't ready to do a whole 3-week tour. We should have had him go in that first week for stage wins. And because he was actually great that first week, and then he just kind of had some trouble, but he did get a 10th up there as well. Let's go to some comments here. Chris says Remco was preparing to point at his head in the corner. Quite possibly so. Spectacular, septacular Vuelta a España, says Victor. Yeah. Do I have it? Oh, did we finish? Oh, there's his bike. We'll get that here. So anyway, it's been an impressive Grand Tour go for the young man from Durango. He's only, 28, 29? There's the bike that he gets tomorrow. So it looks like they upgraded him, got a little paint job, a pink, red and yellow striping on the side there, which doesn't really match, but it's got some significance, at least for the 3 Grand Tours that he did this year, and winning this one here overall. Chris told me he wasn't impressed with this bike. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one, but there you go. There you have it. Was there anyone? This is pretty quick and easy today. Not really much for us to say. The guys, the 3 of them. Now, does your mind change as to the Jonas, Roglic, and Sepp deal? They seem to really, the team is coming in. There's a lot of complaints, right? The way that they left him on the Angliru, and then things have worked out just fine, but it was really ugly to watch. I have problems with the way that it went. Sepp said today, I did hear an interview where he was pushed, and I don't believe him. This is the one time I think I don't believe him, which is he said he mirrored what, remember Jumbo, the team put out a press release at the time that Sepp said into the microphone, go guys, or whoa guys, or no guys, I don't know, but it was go guys. And doing so, then the team, unbeknownst to about the press release, the team manager in the car is like, I think it was Pluger or Neerman, one of those. He's like, we couldn't hear anything except say anything. We couldn't see anything. And they're like, oh, okay. So maybe that you didn't say that. So, and then no one after the race. You'd think that Jonas or Roglic would say, oh, well, Sepp told us to go, and they're getting all this backlash. Today, someone said something, and I think it was Flow Bikes. What's the guy, Graham something? He was interviewing Sepp, and Sepp said, "Oh yeah, we're all good. That's what we did on the Angliru, and I told him to go." And he's like, "You told him to go? What'd you say in the radio?" I said, "Go, guys." I just don't believe. I think he's saying that to make them all look, especially in hindsight of where the solution is now of what actually took place. It just felt like, why didn't you say that at the time? That would have actually relieved a lot of people's angst at the time. So anyway, I'm not buying it for that respect. So I think what we'll do tomorrow, we'll finish it up. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about going over the stages, giving a breakdown of an overview. Maybe pick our best riders or villains, successes. Remco. So that's one thing we'll talk about before we head out here is Remco goes in, has this horrible stage over the Tourmalet, got dumped early along with Almeida. Now look, where did we go in here? Let's go at Maybe I'll bring this in. Okay, so I'm looking at the results here for the GC. Almeida, it ends up in 9th place, a 10.08 down. Now, those two guys got dropped together, Almeida and Remco. I have a feeling that Remco, especially the way he rebounded, wasn't as bad as he tended to show. In other words, he could have gone with Almeida. Maybe he could have ridden with him. His whole team could have, and he would have been only 10 minutes down instead of 20, 30. But who knows? So it's interesting because you want to talk about him being a Grand Tour contender. He comes out with COVID this year at the Giro. That doesn't work for him. Would he have done better defending at the Vuelta? But the Vuelta, competition this year isn't quite what it was last year. The race itself was much easier as far as the climbing going. It was more short, punchy rather than long tour type stuff that they had. So, can he compete at the Tour? Now, he's got the time trial to blitz everybody, but, Jonas, Pogacar, Roglic, when they're really flying, they're not all that bad. So it will be interesting to see if he's, does the stage hunting thing, or if he has a chance to go at it. He's mentally unbreakable, so that should be in his favor. Now, will Sepp Kuss go for GC later on? Jonas Vingegaard, they asked him that question. He goes, I hope he gets a chance. And he said he will get his chance, and I hope he takes it. That's something that could spend in the news where Sepp's like, I'm not even interested in that. It's not the kind of stress I want. So will he be interested in doing that in the future? Now, Jonas says, I hope he does go for it. It was kind of a cool little comment to make. Then he also says, but then I won't have him for my defense. I tend to think that Sepp may, and it will be a situation where, maybe come back and defend at the Vuelta next year. I don't know. Maybe they're going to put him at the Giro. He could probably do pretty well there. Take a look at those ones, and ones that have time trials where it's kind of like this, or a mountain time trial, put him in there, give him a chance. Otherwise, I think he's going to be at the Tour. Now, think what you do at the Tour that's completely different than what you've done before. Right? You put him up like what did they do here at the break? On stage 6, they put him in the break. They put 3 riders with him. He ends up winning. It's a threat to the immediate jersey of Evenepoel. Now, Evenepoel said that day, I want to give it up. He gave it up to Lenny Martinez, but then Sepp Kuss gets it, 2 days later? So with that in mind, now that threat is much different than it was before. Because before it was like, oh, Sepp gets up there, maybe he gets the jersey, maybe he holds it for a few days. Now it would be, oh, he could win the whole Tour. So the threat of him getting up in a break, one, it's going to be less, so it's going to diminish from that. But from the team perspective, it's probably going to be much more potent as far as that goes. Victor says, thanks for live streaming, Tyler Yonke. You're welcome, Victor. I appreciate you always coming in here and joining up on us. So we'll try to do this tomorrow. I'll probably try to do the same time tomorrow. So look for the notifications, everybody. And there you have it. Who's going to win tomorrow? Well, you've got, let's take a look at the sprinters. Denese, his team said, hey, we're glad he got this one. Although we were just thinking, okay, we'll just win on the 21st on Sunday. Okay, so they're up there in that. So you got Denese, you've got Caden Groves, and there's really not much after that, right? Is big boy Filippo Ganna gonna be going for it? I don't know. Let me take a look at the points here. How bad are the points? Caden Grove, holy smokes, he's got 245 to 226 on Evenepoel. That's touch. You can go. KOM 135 to 51. So Remco's going to win that. The youth, it's sewn up for Ayuso. And the teams, wow, Jumbo's up in that by 22 minutes. So yeah. Look, what's crazy about that one is, the team, it's the top 3 across the line. It's always those 3. And although Kelderman was up there today because he was up in the break. He didn't do so hot there as far as that. But that guy's been putting in a lot of work. I mean, their team was on the front a lot today. So Caden Groves. Who else is in the sprinting up here? Vandenberg. I mean, EF. Maybe they'll get their chance. You got Denese, Milano. He could also obviously do it as well. Edward Toynes, perhaps. Remember Jeffrey Soup? He won a stage for Total Energies. He could still maybe get up there. I don't really see no one really else comes to mind here. So I'm going to say Caden Groves. I just can't imagine Alpecin. He's looked the fastest, really. I can't imagine Alpecin not doing their job for it today. Yeah, everybody like, subscribe, share this show, whatever. Do your things. And last thing, buy Fox & Sons coffee, foxandsons.com, code review to get the best possible. I got a big bag yesterday, and I got up really early to watch the stage, and I had a big cup of coffee with it. It was quite enjoyable. That's the way I like it, and that's the way I like to do it. All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. 3:14. Enjoy your evening. Maybe go watch Colorado State football. That's what I'm going to go do. Out.